Welcome to another captivating episode of Psych with Sigmund. Today, we're going to delve into a fascinating concept that influences our behavior in subtle yet powerful ways: vicarious reinforcement. This psychological phenomenon is all about how observing others' experiences can shape our own actions and decisions, often without us even realizing it. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you see someone enjoying a delicious-looking dish. You might think to yourself, "That looks great, I'll have to try it." This is an example of vicarious reinforcement in action. By observing someone else's experience, we learn and make decisions about our own behavior. Vicarious reinforcement is important in psychology because it helps us understand how social observation influences our thoughts, feelings, and actions. This concept has been studied extensively in the field of social learning theory, which suggests that people learn new behaviors by observing others. The idea of vicarious reinforcement emerged in the 1950s and 1960s, primarily through the work of psychologist Albert Bandura. Social learning theory proposes that we learn new behaviors by observing others and imitating their actions. This process involves attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. We pay attention to what others are doing, retain that information in our memory, reproduce the behavior, and are motivated to do so because of the consequences we observe. Key psychologists like Albert Bandura and Julian Rotter have contributed significantly to our understanding of vicarious reinforcement. One of the most famous studies on vicarious reinforcement is Bandura's Bobo doll experiment. In this landmark research, children observed an adult model either behaving aggressively or non-aggressively towards a Bobo doll. Later, when given the opportunity to play with the doll themselves, children who had observed the aggressive model were more likely to exhibit aggressive behavior. This study demonstrates how observing others' actions can shape our own behavior, even in subtle ways. Research has also shown that vicarious reinforcement plays a crucial role in shaping our attitudes and behaviors towards others. For example, if we observe someone being kind and compassionate towards another person, we're more likely to exhibit similar behaviors ourselves. This is known as the bystander effect. On the other hand, if we observe aggressive or discriminatory behavior, we may be more likely to adopt those behaviors as well. In terms of real-world applications, understanding vicarious reinforcement can help us navigate social situations more effectively. For instance, if you're trying to motivate a team member at work, recognizing the power of vicarious reinforcement can inform your approach. By sharing stories of colleagues who have successfully overcome challenges or achieved rewards, you can create a positive and supportive environment that encourages others to strive for similar successes. Therapeutic approaches also leverage vicarious reinforcement to promote positive change. In cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, therapists may use role-playing exercises or share stories of clients who have overcome similar challenges to inspire and motivate individuals towards positive behavioral changes. Additionally, exposure therapy, which is commonly used to treat anxiety disorders, relies on the principles of vicarious reinforcement to help individuals gradually become comfortable with situations that previously triggered anxiety. It's also worth noting that vicarious reinforcement can have a negative impact if we're observing unhealthy or maladaptive behaviors. For example, if we observe someone engaging in substance abuse or other addictive behaviors, we may be more likely to adopt those behaviors ourselves. This highlights the importance of being mindful of the social influences in our lives and seeking out positive role models. Furthermore, research has shown that vicarious reinforcement can be influenced by various factors, such as the observer's emotional state, the model's credibility, and the consequences of the behavior. For instance, if we're in a positive emotional state, we're more likely to be influenced by observing someone else's positive behavior. On the other hand, if we're in a negative emotional state, we may be more resistant to changing our behavior, even if we observe someone else exhibiting positive behaviors. By recognizing how we learn from others' experiences, we can harness the power of vicarious reinforcement to promote personal growth, improve relationships, and foster a more supportive environment for those around us. In addition, it's essential to consider the role of technology in vicarious reinforcement. With the rise of social media, we're constantly exposed to others' experiences and behaviors. This can be both positive and negative, as we may be inspired by others' achievements or influenced by unhealthy behaviors. Being aware of these influences and taking steps to manage our exposure to social media can help us maintain a healthy balance between pleasure and reality. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.